Check this thing out. This one might give us a good challenge today. This one is pretty rough. Spark plugs out of it. Pretty much a beater here. But this is a 1985 Honda ATC 200M. So I don't think I've ever worked on the M version of this machine. I worked on the S before, but this is the rarer M version, which is more of like a utility machine. It's got the front suspension, it's electric start, and it's just a heavier version of the S machine. So the S machine is basically a stripped down version of the M. Then the M is basically a stripped down version of the Big Red. It doesn't have the shaft drive or reverse. But yeah, I believe this one shares the same chassis as the Big Red 250s. So pretty cool machine. And this one did come with a box of parts. I think there's a headlight in there, a couple brake parts, and this unfortunately is not my machine. You guys know Greg and Jen. They said, why don't you take a crack at this thing? They have other projects they're working on, and this was kind of just sitting there rotting away. And they're like, why don't you try to get this thing running? I guess they picked it up for really cheap and just want this thing to run again. So that's the goal for today. We're gonna try to tear into this thing and see if we can get this thing running and driving by the end of the video. Hopefully we can make it happen. But as you can see, the plastics are all broken on it. Looks pretty rough. Rips in the seat, gas tank is dented in. Headlights off of it, all the wires need to be plugged back in. Choke is hanging here. It does have the recoil, does have the electric start on there. Carb looks a little gunked up. Tires don't look too bad on it. So let's go ahead, wheel this thing into the garage, and we'll start tearing into it. All right, we got this one in the garage. Let's start tearing into it. So the first thing we're gonna do is check out the gas tank. Let's see if this one's clean. That is spotless in there. Surprised because the gas cap doesn't look that great. But gas tank looks really clean. Check that out. Ooh, fuel. Looks a little rough in there. Ooh. Yeah. I'm guessing this thing's been sitting for quite a while. Let's get a quick sample, and that'll kind of give us a timeline of how long this thing sat for. How bad could the gas be? Let's find out. That is really bad. Look how much water was in there. Look at that gas. That had to have been sitting for forever. But yeah, you can see the water separation at the top there. So yeah, this thing hasn't ran in a long time. That is terrible. And the smell, ugh, it's bad. So gas tank needs to be flushed for sure. All right, oil. Let's check her out. There should be a dipstick on here. Oh yeah, there's some oil in it. Looks a little black. About halfway, so could definitely use an oil change. Doesn't smell like gas. Yeah, she's dark. All right, so at least there's some in there. It's not milky either, so I don't think water got inside the engine, hopefully. Because I'm looking at the spark plug hole and there's no spark plug in there. So water could have easily just gone right down into the spark plug hole, down into the engine, and could have locked everything up. So I guess we're gonna pull this thing over and just see if it turns over first. I hope it's not locked up. All right, let's just see if it pulls over. Oh yeah. It's actually really smooth in there. So that's pretty lucky. All right, let's take this fancy bungee cord off and see what's underneath the seat. All right, let's see here. Surprisingly, the air box is still in there. Battery's missing, or the electric start. It does have a fuse there. Looks pretty clean. It's not too bad. Alright, what's in here? Anything? What do we have? Looks like this is for the bars up front. That goes right there. And that's it. That's all that was in there. I was hoping there's a toolkit in there, but nope. So let's go ahead and open up the air box, see what's living in there. You never know what the ATC is, what's living in the air box. You find these things in barns, in basements. These things just survive everywhere. So you never know. But it's crazy how these ATCs just hold their value like crazy. People love these things. And they are really fun to ride. And great for ice fishing. So let's see what's in here. Oh, hey, look at that. Actually looks pretty good. Check that out. You don't see that every day. Oh, it's coming out of there, but kind of full of gas. It's pretty wet. But actually not breaking apart, so it's decent. At least there's something in there. Usually these never have air filters, especially in this condition. So we'll clean that out, check that out a little bit later, leave that off for now. Probably end up oiling that up and everything. All right, I think the gas tank can come off. Let's see here. All right, so as you can see, there was no gas line on the petcock. So somebody disconnected that a while back. I'm guessing because they drained out the gas and saw what it looked like and then just disconnected it. But underneath here, we will find the carburetor. There's actually boot going to the air box. Also a good sign. Yeah, original carb in there. Cool. All right, so far it doesn't look too bad. What's this? Oh boy, what's that going to? Uh-oh. Is it missing like the CDI? I think it might be missing the CDI for this thing. Yeah, that's a pretty major plug-in. Let me check the box of parts. Let's see what's in here. Brakes, cables, headlight. Is this it? Okay. So there's the CDI. I wonder if that's bad. Why was that taken off of it? Oh boy. Well, at least we have something to work with. So I'm guessing there's no spark, would be my guess. Guess we'll find out. But yeah, so that goes right up here, like that. And that plugs into that. So I guess we can get that hooked up. All right. Yeah, it's never a great sign when the CDI is off of it. So looking at all the little connectors coming out there. Those all look good. I'm looking in here, making sure those are all making contact. Yep, that all looks good. This definitely looks like the original CDI too. Okay, get that installed. Let's see, which way does it go? Coils on there too. That's looking a bit rough. See the connection right here? It's all corroded. Oh, maybe that's just plastic. All right, so the ground there looks good. The other wire looks good. All right, that all checks out. I think everything's connected as well. Coming up here, let's see if anything's disconnected that we have to connect. Oh, ignition. So all these wires have to be reconnected. We've got the choke. It needs to be reconnected. I don't know what was going on with this thing. Somebody was like tearing it down to restore it, or what the heck was going on? Did they lose spark and we're trying to diagnose it? Like what was happening here? Huh. Yeah, this is really weird. All right, let's try to get the ignition hooked up at least, so we can check for spark. All right, let's see. We've got a red wire. I'm guessing that goes to red. Maybe. We've got black and white. I'm guessing that goes to black and white here. We've got straight black. It's gonna go to straight black. And then we've got green going to green here. Then this is the neutral wire here. The green and the red. Blue, white, and yellow, or green, are usually for the headlight. All right, that looks good. Yeah, somebody was definitely trying to diagnose like a no spark situation, for sure. So that's all connected. Where are the kill switch wires? Those are coming down through here. So white and black are kill switch. I'm guessing what the kill switch does is just ground out the wire going to the coil, which would be the yellow and the black, so the black and white here. So if the kill switch is grounding out, we won't have spark either. So let's go ahead. We are going to hook up a battery to it and make sure we have spark. I think that's the first thing we're going to check. All right, there's a fuse in here. Maybe that was the problem. Let's check that out. Make sure that looks good. There's the fuse. If we hear a beep, we're going to be good to go. Looks like a brand new fuse. Yep. All right, so fuse looks good. Get that back on there. I like how it's protected in that little case here. All right, we've got the red wire here, the ground wire here. Where is that going to? All right, ground is going directly to the frame. Red is going to the solenoid, which looks a little iffy. And then the voltage regulator is right down there. So everything looks good there. Let's hook up a jumper, see what happens here. We've got red going to positive, black to negative. Turn this guy on, 12 volts going to it. Hopefully nothing's smoking. Let's see. Don't want to fry anything. All right. Let's turn the key and see what happens. Okay, that is the neutral light that was pulled out. You can tell because it's got the light green wire going to it, so that has to go up into there. Let's get that position. Let's see if the electric start works here. That should be interesting. Here we go. Uh-oh. Solenoid just clicked. And the neutral wire light went out. Huh. Did I blow a fuse? That's really odd. No, fuse isn't blowing. Oh, there we go. All right. It's working now. Must have just been a short when I pushed the button here the first time. So, yep, now it's spinning over good. Awesome. All right, everything is working as it should now. Get our choke hooked up here. All right, now we can go down below and check for spark, confirm that. All right, let's check the boot first. Oh, there's a little wire exposed there. We'll cut that back. Just a hair, there we go. Take a peek inside the boot. Looks pretty good. Spray that a little bit. All right, get this twisted back on. So who thinks there's gonna be a spark? I highly doubt it based on the fact that the CDI was off of it, the ignition wires were off of it. It's not looking too good. Yeah, I'd be completely shocked if there was a spark. So let's see. All right, here we go, a moment of truth. If we don't have spark, it's probably something to do with the kill switch or the CDI. All right, let's see what we get. Here we go. Turn this on. All right, let's see. Push the start button. Oh. We're just getting lucky this past week. Wow. Great spark. Look at that. Turn off the lights. Really good spark. So we have good spark. And check this out. Tail light's even working. Amazing. Spark was what I was definitely worried about the most. and we have it now. So that is huge. All right, now that we know we have good spark, let's go ahead and take a look down the cylinder, see what that looks like. Hopefully it's not scored. All right. So do we have low compression? It's the next thing we have to check. Here we go. Looks a little rusty down there. Ooh. There's definitely some old gas sitting at the top of the piston here. Let's go ahead and just turn this thing over until that piston's at the bottom of the cylinder. Alright, let's see if we can see anything. So, I don't know if that's water in there. Very well could be. Doesn't look too bad. A little carbon on the piston, but nothing too bad. I think there's just water in the gas, and it's probably in the carb as well. It's just sucking that in. So it doesn't look horrible in there. We are going to just squirt a little oil in there just to help that out. Just a little squirt of oil, a little Marvel Mystery Oil going in. Then what we're going to do is rotate this over a couple times just to get that piston lubricated here. All right, here we go. Turn it over. Sounds pretty good. All right. That is done. Let us go and check compression next. All right, I looked it up, and on the 200M, you want about 140 PSI. It said anything below that, it might be time for a rebuild. So let's see what we get. We're hoping for over 140. So we can actually do throttle open. All right, here we go. Throttle open. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, that has a ton of compression. Like 195 PSI. That does have a little oil down it. It's probably at like 170. We'll test it again after the first run if we can get this thing running. But compression looked really, really good. So we have compression, we have spark. Let's go ahead and check the valves quick. On this machine it's pretty easy. There's just a cap here for the exhaust valve, and a cap here. You can see right there for the intake valve. I know these are kind of a weird size. Okay, 24 millimeter. We'll see if there's oil on the cap too, for the exhaust side. So those weren't stripped out at all. That's good. Alright, let's get the exhaust one off. Crack that free. Yep, there's some oil down there. That's good. Let's see if the valves are loose in here. Yep, exhaust is. Intake's not moving. So let's get this thing to top dead center. So right here we can take off the cap. Underneath the cap is going to be a window where you can see into the flywheel. And when we rotate this over, we should be able to see a mark on the flywheel that's lined up with a mark on the case here. And we might actually be on top dead center right now. Are we? No, we weren't. So we're going to pull this over. until we see that mark. Should be a line with a T. Alright, hopefully you guys can see in there. But there is the T. See that? There's a line with a T. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's just a T with a line. And what you want to see is that there's clearance between the valves and the rocker. Be able to hear the play in the valve there. See that? That one clicks. And then the intake valve. You can hear it clicking. Alright, so on the 200M, the valve clearance is actually the same for the intake and the exhaust. So you want to have 0.02 of an inch for both of them. So let's see, here's 0.02 of an inch on the feeler gauge. Let's see if that one fits in. I think the exhaust might be a little big. We'll see. All right, that one's perfect. That one's actually feeling pretty good. Let's go up to 3 and see if that slides in. Three is really scraping. So we'll leave that for now. If it's ticking, we'll set it back to 2. But, I mean, it sounds pretty good. Intake cap going back on here. I think the easiest way to get the carb out is to take the air box off. So let's try to do that. Alright, that bolt is out. One more to go. Can never be easy. It's held on by something else too. Probably the carb boot. Let's get that off. I wish this little bracket wasn't here. Makes it really hard to work on. The carb's like right underneath there. There we go. That one's off. That one's off. So we can go right through here before that was blocked off. Carb is not easy to get off of here. Let's see if we can get off the boot now. Oh yeah. Easy access now. Now the air box should come off, I would hope. A couple bolts on there. box is off. And we can pull the carb right out through there. So 10mm bolts holding that on. Right here. That one came off easy. Should be able to pull this right out of here. There, slide out. Pull that out. Carb. There's an O-ring in there. Can we pull it underneath here? Okay. Got her out. Get your O-ring off. There's the O-ring. Alright, get your choke off of here. There. Carb is officially off. Here's the gas line going in. Here's the breather. Pretty small carb here. Not much to it. Let's take a look on the inside. This guy up, as you can see, it's pretty dirty. Get the breather off right away. That one's on there pretty good. There we go. Get our gas line off. Those haven't been off in a while. Let's see how bad the carb looks. Just 3 bolts holding it on. Ooh. Yeah, that looks about right. You can see all the rust and gunk in there. Looks like dried up gas mostly. So it's pretty rough. That piece comes off. Let's see if our pin can pop through here. There we go. There, float. See what the needle looks like here. Not bad. Float looks good. Alright, main jet coming out. Well, that's pretty clear. What main jet are we running? Too gunked up, can't even see it. And our pilot is right out in the open. Looks like a 38 pilot. Let's see if that was clear. Wow, that was actually clear. It's amazing. Fuel screw here. Semi turns out. We are 1, 2, exactly 2. I'm guessing there's an O-ring and a little washer underneath here as well. Let's see. A little spring. Get that out. There we go. Yeah, there's a little O-ring and washer. So we'll just let that soak, but that was clear as well. So we are going to let this soak in the ultrasonic cleaner for about 30 minutes. Get this all cleaned up and we'll blow it out with compressed air and get this thing back together, back on the machine. All right, we've got the ultrasonic cleaner here. Let's see how bad this water is in here. We've worked on some nasty carbs this week. Oh man, that is gross coming out of there. That's nasty. Let that drain out. Yeah, I like to clean this out at least once a week. Put some fresh water in there, otherwise it stops working. You know, it doesn't clean as well. It's all gunked up. All right, that's what's left over in here. It's really gross. It's like a week worth of gunked up carbs right there. I like to use the simple green solution. Just dump that guy in. Alright, that's pretty good. Alright, we can get all of our carb parts in here. Turn this thing on. Let this thing cook. Alright, while we're waiting for the carb to get done, let's go ahead and do the oil change. So, right down in there, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there is a drain bolt right there. Can you guys see it? Kinda. Alright, so we're gonna take that out, drain out this oil, and see how bad it is. A little sticky in there. So that goes just like that. Nothing in the filter stream. All right, oil looks a little black, but no chunks or anything in there, no metallic flakes, so we should be good. All right, oil change capacity is about 1.4 quarts here. So let's get some oil going to it. We're just using some of this stuff, 10W40 wet clutch oil. Get the full quart in there. And then half a quart, about, or 0.4, going in. And we'll check the oil. Make sure we're filled up all the way here. Don't want to screw it in. Let's see where we're at. Perfect right there. All the way up. You can see it comes up to right there. All right, we got the carb out of the ultrasonic cleaner. Look how good that cleaned up. Looks brand new. Not bad. Then we blew through all the jets, all the passageways, so everything is good to go. We can get this back onto the machine here. All right, get her slide in. All right, get her choke back on. Finally, dump a little gas in there, flush it out. All right, petcock is working. That's good. Get this all up. Remember, there was a bunch of water in there. Gotta get all that out. All right, get the plug back in here. All right, filter and gas line around there. We'll check it in a little bit here. Let's get some fuel in. Leaks or not. Let's take a peek in there. So far, so good. All right, let's go attempt and fire this thing up. Hopefully she fires here. We will see. As long as it's sparking at the right time, we should be good. We've got compression, we've got spark, valve clearances are spot on, we've got fresh oil in it, fresh fuel in it, carb is all cleaned out, so let's see what happens here. All right, here we go. We're gonna hook up a battery to it. Here we go. Choke it. Running. A little smoky. Fire right up. Sounds pretty good. See if it revs out. So far, so good. Engine sounds really good. I'm waiting for the smoke to go away here. I'm hoping it does. Rev it out a couple more times. Try to get rid of that smoke. Still smoking quite a bit. Huh. All right, let's shut it off and see if it fires right back up. All right, she's running pretty good. No issues at all. So let's go ahead and fix up the rest of this thing. So both brakes need new shoes. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's work on the front brakes first. Get this guy off of here. Yeah, this is the new cable. Get this lubed up. Hopefully we can get the butterfly nut off. There, it's coming. Come on. So we'll save that spring too, just in case we need that. Alright, get this cable out of here. Alright, cable's out. Alright, let's get the new cable in. Is that the same thing? It's definitely a lot longer. Huh. Maybe it's the other one. Yeah. That one's still longer. Alright, I got the cable routed. It was a smaller cable, and we got that to work, so as you can see now it's working here. So now what we have to do is replace the brake shoes inside the little drum there. There's what that looks like on the inside. And the brake shoes are right in here. not even worn down. Those don't even look bad. But since we're in here, we may as well replace them. Look just like that. All right, new ones. So these are gonna go just like this. Arrow points up. All right, front brakes are working now. All right, that's fixed. Let's go on to the rear. The rear cable is completely locked up. Let's get that out. It's completely locked up. Probably gonna tip. Put something underneath the wheel here. finally in. This came off. Now we can get these out. Those look perfect in there. Brake pads aren't even bad, of course. So these just start coming out. Okay. Pads going on here. Finally got that cover on. Get this all back together here. Alright, let's see if the rear brake's working. Perfect. Brakes are working good. Alright, let's see if we can get the headlight on here. See if anything lights up. I'm gonna plug this guy in. There we go. Headlight's working. Cool. Right here. Let's see, this goes right like that. Well, I think she's all good to go. Should we go see if it moves? I guess we'll first see if it starts up with the pull start. climb a hill here. Just cut this path in yesterday. Septic system's going in right here. Looks like they were working on that today. That's for the in-floor heat in the bathroom. We're gonna have it installed in here. Well, I'd say this one was a success. This thing is running perfectly. Not a single issue, no leaking from anywhere. You can see the carb is completely dry. Revs out completely. It's jetted properly, that's for sure. Headlights working, tail lights working, brakes are now working after replacing the cables and the pads. Everything is good to go on this machine. So hopefully Greg and Jen can get some good use out of this thing. I don't know if they're going to put it on their channel or not, but yeah, this is a pretty nice machine. And I know Greg got this thing for really cheap, so I think he got a great deal on this one. Gas tank is perfect. Everything looks pretty good. So if you could find some new rear plastics for it, I mean, this thing's probably worth, you know, at least 1,500 bucks, I would think, close to 2,000. Everything is stock on it except for the brake pads and the cables, it looks like. So yeah, very, very nice machine. So I'm pretty happy we took the time to go through this one. We ended up saving another one today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on the 1985 on the 200M. Getting this thing from Greg and Jen, going through it, diagnosing it, fixing it up, doing the first start, and then the first ride on this thing. Turned out great. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are out.